apparently we are streaming now. Yep, here we are. Hello, I am streaming now. Yay. So I am working on the Oanda client. Let me zoom in. How do you zoom in? So it's a generated Rust code. And when I run it, I get some errors. So I'm going to fix this. Private. So this is where I generate the code. So this is the base directory. That's the output code, and this is the generator. I'll just go straight into the generator, right? Let's search for that private thing. Okay, so that can be fixed. That needs to become what? Micro 2 token stream. Oh. Easy fix. Let me zoom in on this one so the code looks easier to read. Where else are we looking? We're using the Helix editor. And you can go space, and then / for global search in the workspace folder. And that's how I'm finding all these privates. That's funny finding these privates. Use macro 2. I'll do one, which should be token stream. I forgot what the other one was. Maybe that's all we need. Save it. Any errors? Span. Copy paste span. So today, merge imports. Today what I'm planning to do is fix the error the way that each API call can return an error. We just change that to token stream. Keep going. Any more privates we got to get rid of? There we go. So I should really, that's the error there that was causing that error. So now if I go cargo build, it'll run the build script, which will recall the code generation and give us a next thing to fix. So if we there's the build script. See, calls generate source, which comes from writer. Should we keep fixing this up? Cannot find macro quote in this. So gen endpoint needs a macro quote imported in that. We're literally in gen endpoint now. This is the code we're writing right now. We're generating a code for every. Let's go. Just go to the Oanda library here. Oh, there you go. Instrument. This is the instrument endpoint. So we're writing one Rust module for this endpoint. Why does it take so long to load? It's not nice. And as you can see here, the issue is that we're trying to call quote to generate code and it's not imported, so I guess it's going to be up here somewhere where we've got to import it, and it's just quote. That's easy. And now I'll run. Expected nothing. Okay, so we're doing all right. We got to some. Here we are at the endpoint. We're generating the endpoint. So I've got all these little extra bits to do. If we look at the endpoint structure over here, that's it. Wow, it's an enum. I think there's a. I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry, I didn't want to blow your ears off. Wait, that should be more to an endpoint now. We're getting the REST calls. Okay, so look at the REST calls. There's the endpoint where it came from. So if we're generating, let me go forward. We're generating a whole endpoint We've got the name, and we've got a bunch of REST calls that are for this endpoint. Then for each REST call, we're calling call method REST call. What? That's the method name. Okay. So we made this code method name. I'm very proud of the other day. I probably should have documented it because that looks crap. I can't remember how I did it. So if we look in the, is there any JSON here? It is one up. JLS content. This is the YAML which we scrape from the website with all the endpoints and all the definitions. So there is a path in the REST call. So let's find a REST call path. Yeah, so there's a path like this. And should be use that to generate documentation here. Takes the path for the REST call, e.g. this. If the last segment starts with ampersand, okay, for that line, but what are things? Curly brace for more. In most cases, just returns the last segment. E.g., I'll just put curly braces transactions. And we know the, I don't know, do we know the context, I guess. I'll get that. In cases where last segment is a variable, I guess we say. E.g., let's go find one in here. So here we're using JLS. We're going to look for / curly brace. Is that going to happen? Yep. Great. Yank value YV. So many tools, man. This is JLS. Yep, there you go. And then we're going to paste that in here. Match, replace, double quotes, curly quotes. Hey, match, replace, double quotes with curly quotes. No, what I did? Backticks. So in the case where the last segment is a variable, we have to turn it into, last segment starts with this, then we take the HTTP method. Oh, okay. The code, the method name. Okay, we should do what's actually doing. Generates a Rust name for the method to trigger the API call. REST API call. The method name becomes the HTTP verb, e.g. get or post. Nice. I like documentation. Probably I should do a git commit at some point. So many changes I've made. Under V2, are we doing under V2? I guess. V2, and then don't want to add content. Writer source main doesn't need to be added. Does it need to be added? Do we even use that? No, we don't use it. Let's have a look at it. It's basically the same as the build method. I guess we can add it. If it exists, it means we're running it right. And then all of that's just going to get commit. Oh, why is there a source here? What's in the source directory? This seems weird. Why would we have a source directory? It's from October 14th, which was like a few days ago. I think I generated this I'll just move it to, oh, whatever, I don't know, it's not in Git. I need to, okay, just move it to source temp to delete. Code to delete. That's my recycle bin. Alright, I don't think it's, I think it's generated code. Oh, that's weird music now. I'm going to change the music a bit. This guy Ash is really good, but it's copyrighted and then I'll get in trouble. Okay. That is weird music, isn't it? Let me go back one. Let's choose work and study. I think this is copyright free. Yay. So relaxing. Okay, so my window manager is Pop! OS and it's tiled on, so these are stacked, so that's why there's a browser there. And two terminals here. And for terminal we're using that Rust terminal. Whoa. Lower down the music me. Okay, anyway, let's git commit -am start of generating endpoint code. That's not why we're here though. Why is that there? Git commit -a amend, push that up. So let's have a look at Lambda v2. Let's have a look at some of our code here. Source lib. Oh. Okay, the endpoint code doesn't look like it's getting generated. I guess because we're not generating it, because it's crashing. Gen endpoint line 88. Mismatched types, expected nothing, found token stream. We've got to generate that code. I'll get something working, generating code, and then start to fix the code that it generates. So I want to build a vec of token streams, so I guess we can just do that. Yeah, we can just go let calls, which is a vec of token stream, and it's going to be a result. You know what, I'll just put the type name in the collect equals calls dot map and do some, what do you call it? Is it a functional programming? It seems like I don't know, functional programming is the wrong word for this. Use some iterators, that's what I'm saying. So it'll return that. And there's no, I thought there would be a result, but there's no results yet. Collect into a vec of token stream. An auto, we call format, that's great. Calls dot iter. And that becomes cool. And then we can just, so we've got a client, and the way we're coding it is that you go client.accounts or client.instrument, depending on what. See, there's all these endpoints here, account, and then you go account.accounts, account.get, and that'll be account.summary, account.instrument, yeah. That's the way it's supposed to work. So that's what the code I'm trying to generate here is. We need to create a struct called, and there's a struct item there that's going to become account, which has a client. It's got a lifetime and it has a reference to the client, And then we're going to put all the calls in here. And the call's going to be something like that. Okay. We don't know what the code is even that we're generating. Result. And that's what I've got to work on today, is the result. That's what I want to work on. This is the code to generate. I just put to do for now. There you go. Result nothing. Just to generate anything that will work. I can't remember how to generate a bunch of calls in macros. I think I literally just done something like call star. I have to look at the generate gen definition, because there I did it. It'll be something with a hash and I can't type hash. Let's just search for it. There it is. It's a hash brackets hash, and at the end a star. Okay. Back to gen endpoint. So now at least it should generate some code. Ooh. This is still errors in build, but is it an error in the code that we built? Oh, there is no endpoints, so that hasn't worked. Oh man, could not find host in the crate root. This is source client. Okay, this is the client. This is the code we generated. Yay! So the generator is working, but the code we're generating is not working. That's a step forward. Could not find host in the crate root. Why did I even put that in there? So let's have a look at client.rs. Host is the host to use. Source lib, I did not create a host, so I don't know why. So I've copied this code from my previous attempt at writing this. So if we create a new, let me zoom in, regex host. That's the stuff I created. That's the old one. There you go. I made this file called host.hs. Template old. So now this will help me figure out why I created this code. Okay, so there's a pub enum dev live host. Returns the API endpoint for the REST API. Oh, okay, that's what I created that for. So I'll just literally copy that. Source host.rs to under v2 source. Now are we generating the lib? We are generating the lib. But we're not generating it because we never called this, perhaps? Is this ever called? It is called, so where's the lib code coming from? Genlib format base plus lib.rs, because that's not generating anything useful. So this is in utils, generate source, and then is that called? That's called in main, and I think build calls that. Generate source, it does. Is it overriding the lib that's there? Yes, it is, but okay, wait. Now I'm confused because I was getting errors in lib, and that lib is not the same as, it's a client. Okay. So genlib needs to say, yep, the mons are here, and then so we've got to get that list of mons those are going to be host mods, modules that are just there. Or maybe I will just hard code it in genlib. There you go. Because I wanna. Okay, we'll just go let start equals that. That's the token stream, and then we're gonna go quote. I'll put generated. Let's make generated, which is going to be a token stream because we're going to collect to it. And then we're going to put it there, and then we'll output other stuff like pub mod host. Now when we generate it, oh, we got a, did we get the host? It's there now, great. Cargo build, so the error should be gone. Forget all those warnings. Yay. If we can get rid of all the errors, that would be nice. Could not find account in Self-B. That'll be okay. That's generating the client, so we've got to figure that out as part of the endpoint generation. But the code we committed just then got rid of an error, so I will commit it. Yay! A step forward. Now we have a host file. Host. What does it even do? Wow. Let me move that over here. Lets you choose the host if it's a practice API or the main API. Helps choose between the practice and live API endpoints. Why didn't it like me? Git commit -am. Maybe I'll change that to. I should read the thing. Why did it try to run host? That's funky. Okay. Could show the one before. Okay, we didn't do anything funky started. Okay, we're good. Okay, push it up. Yay. So now we've got to get this gen endpoint working. So what I was thinking, okay, I was thinking to get the results working, but I guess we've got to get the code working first. Gen endpoint. Let's just get rid of some of these errors. So client RS 111 couldn't find account. That doesn't seem like the same code as what the error is coming from. Self the client RS 1 line 1. Use self account accounts because we're not generating that code, so we've got to figure that out first. Okay, let's find gen endpoint and see if it's being called anywhere first. It's never used. Okay, so that'll help. What was the name? It was gen source. Generate source. There we go. So we've got to make. We've got to call gen endpoint in here. Generate all the definition. Generate all of the endpoints. That'll be here. Endpoints and content. Is that going to make real code? I don't even know what that does. Gen endpoint's not imported. We can import it. Content endpoints, no function associated with him. Model content. doesn't have, okay, so there's a definitions, but there's no endpoints. Let's make that. Select definitions. Change to endpoints. Match a function. Select definition, which will be that. Change to endpoint. Is that code just going to work? Because that would be really handy. We're just making stuff up now. Documentation. That's got to be a capital. No variant need endpoints in enum documentation. There's a similar one called endpoint. We did endpoint. Okay. This is the, okay, so what we got to do here, we got to go, see, endpoint returns none definitions. So we got to go, this becomes definitions and returns none. Okay, wait. Why is there only an endpoint and a definitions? This becomes definitions and goes down there. Okay, so let's have a look at this thing, endpoint. Name calls. So why is it plural for definitions? I guess because each documentation represents, if we look at the JLS here, there's definitions, definitions, and then there's no endpoints. Okay, so each page is just either a bunch of definitions or a single endpoint. It's either a bunch of definitions. Okay, we'll just type that. Each page of the Amanda is either a bunch of definitions, e.g., and I'll give it a actual link. That's endpoint. We'll use that for our endpoints, or a single endpoint with multiple REST calls. So then we've got to go to one of the definitions. We'll just go to instrument. So that makes sense. So now we can figure out how to generate, if we're given content has a single document, content on one page. So we can't give you endpoints from the content of one page. Sorry, that's not going to happen. We need to figure out generate. I've got to remember which file generates sources in iutils. Okay, so we can't just go for each contents generate all the source code. So what is contents? Contents is the whole thing. It's an array. Okay, so we can go, yeah, content dot iter flat map. We can't just go endpoints. So what we can do is go as endpoint, and we'll return just one endpoint. So instead of definitions, we'll go, if this page content represents an endpoint, returns that info. I don't know what that info is going to be. It's going to be a name and some calls. So it's going to be that. Maybe I should make that an actual struct. definition, e.g. this. Then this can just become an endpoint with an endpoint inside it. It's pretty going to break a lot of other code. Oh look, we've got calls we could have called here. I'll fix that at least. Anywhere else where it's an issue. Endpoint. This becomes that. That becomes that. Okay. Anywhere else. The name endpoint is defined multiple times. Must be defined only once. Where's the other place that is defined? Previous endpoint. Endpoint docs endpoint. Let's have a look at that. This should be renamed endpoint type. Man, I'm getting I'm going into endpoints because there's all the possible endpoints. Man, I'm really getting funky into the code now, aren't I? Unused endpoints. Okay, that's fine. No, because maybe it is unused. Okay. These needs to have serialize and deserialize and debug. That's easy. Save. Okay, unused. Remove it. Well, I guess somewhere else in the code is complaining about that, so we'll just run a cargo build and figure out where that is. I guess we're not even getting there because the gen endpoint code needs to be written. Okay. Let's go to everywhere that's used and then we'll find it. Documentation endpoint. So this place has it. I've got to endpoint it. This is a big change, but probably worth it. Let's see where else it's used. It is used in a lot of places. That one's fixed. That's fixed. That's fixed. That's fixed. That's okay. We're good. Go to the definition, and there's no more sadness. I wonder if point should have a capital P. Nope. Already made enough changes. What was I actually doing? Can't even remember. We're trying to make. We've got a calls. We need to go as endpoint, which will replace that calls one. So we'll just go pub fn as endpoint. Takes a reference to self, returns an option of an endpoint reference, which should be at the same lifetime as self. And then we can copy this. We don't care about definitions, we just return none. if it's an endpoint, we just return it. That's nice and easy. We probably, as calls even used, we probably don't even need calls now. Go to references. No, it's not even used. So we can get rid of that function because it's basically what we're just doing. Did I just break something by getting rid of calls? Don't see any error messages. Okay. Maybe I'll just put like a hash deprecated on there. I'll just put literally can be deleted. Probably can be deleted because we have as endpoint now. So if I do find anywhere that uses that, at least it will give us an error. I don't know, it must be a key value pair. What? Message. I don't even know how to use this. I'm just making it up as I go along. Undo. Message equals. I just look at the help for it. Deprecated equals reason decrement. Since note. Okay, so it's note. Do we need a since as well? No, apparently not. Great. Cool. So let's go to as endpoint. Now nobody calls it yet. So we go back to util, which is where we were coding. So this will work. Content.as endpoint flatten. Wait, what's not an iterator? Model endpoint is not an iterator. Okay. We don't need the flatten, that's what it's saying. Cool, so we've got an endpoint now, yay. And then we got gen endpoint. Gen endpoint is not used anywhere. Wait, is it? Have we got the right? That's a mod. Okay, we need gen endpoint. And then we can use that trick to go replace qualify with use. This function takes two arguments, and what are they? The name and the calls. So we could literally change that now to take an endpoint, which would make everything a lot easier. Rather than exploding it out. And then this becomes let just explode it out. Bam, exploded. We don't need a reference anymore because it's already a reference. Gen response is never used. I guess we'll get there, Okay, hang on, Mr. Compiler. Poco a poco. What time is it? 12 a.m. Nice. Unused import self. Yeah, because that must be not really not needed. Okay, build. What's our next error? No variant or associated name status found for error in current scope. This is in client.rs. This is in the generated code now. Okay, so this is the code that I was actually woke up to write. I'm just gonna have a drink of water. Bing bong bing bong bing. There. I had some like leftover coffee in the water. So let's have a look at the gen error. What the error crate is going to look like. What I would like is a special kind of error. Okay, so if we look at I'll just show you my plan, my thinking. And gen endpoint. Each endpoint has a response, a list of responses. Let's have a look at the JList. Look. So this is the endpoint, here's a call, and then each call has possible responses, and it has a 200 code, returns that schema if it has. Okay, there's no other code that's other than 200. Oh, other responses, yes, 401 and a 405. So, and then in the, I don't know if we can find it, but in the docs there's a, in the Oanda docs, if I go to, let's just try one, get accounts, example, responses, other responses 401, there's these. I don't think I've encoded these into the content.yaml though. Maybe I'll need to scrape them. I wanted to put like an error message like you 401 authorize and then give this information in the error message. That would be really handy for people using the library. Maybe I need to just save that in the to-do list because I haven't scraped it. I think I have a to-do list here. There we go, a web scraper to do. I think it's way out of date probably. Each API call invite, read a different response structure. Yeah, I've done that. And maybe I should just look at the web scraper code and just get that done. Why not? Okay, so how do we get to that page? Troubleshooting. I'll just literally. We'll just add it. We'll just make it happen. Or we could add to do this. hx source main. No, lib. Get content, which is the main. Endpoint links. Get all content there. So what I'd like to add to the error struct is error code documentation. There's going to be a lot of work to scrape all these. Is it worth it? Do I want that? How many are there? It's probably less work to copy and paste them and rather than scrape them. But then it won't be dynamic, and if they change this, then I won't get the new version. Let's look at the HTML and see if it's scrapable. Oh, it's so funky. Is there a container? That container has all error messages in it, of course, and then they're just, I have to break them up by header. I can do that. Okay, wait, by h4. H4 is a bad requirement. Where's the h4? That's a table of contents. And then each. Maybe I can use a table of contents as a insufficient authorization. Let's click it. Oh, this is defining each error type as, because the table of contents is pretty useless. Because we're going to get 401 authorized, and then we want to give them all the possible. Or look at that, it's saying if an account ID is submitted, the previous request was forbidden. The account ID is invalid. That's pretty giving information to hackers that shouldn't be there anyway. The endpoint being accessed requires the client to be authenticated. Do I want to go in so much detail? I'll leave it for a second iteration of the library. Forbidden. The client has provided a token that does not matter. So that's interesting. I think I'll just break it up into 401 unauthorized and I'll give all that information. And then people can figure it out themselves. Yep. So how am I going to scrape this? I need H5. What is this? Inspect. Is it an H? Oh, Bitwarden. Inspect. That's H4. Okay, so they're all H4s, I guess. So bad request to be here. There it is. Okay, so I can break it up by H4s, and then I'll just get all that content and make it code. Okay. Well, should we make it markdown? Why not? Error code documentation. This is scraped. This is going to be a lot of work from. Do I need a hashtag? So now we've committed by adding that, and now all the codes are broken. So where's that used? It's used in. We'll just go back. Get all content. So before we return all content, what is all content? It's a vec. That's weird. It's a vec of content. Okay, so I didn't want to put it in the content. So content is one page. It's not going to be there. What I'll do is I'll make a vec called all content. A struct called all content. I'll just copy this. Shouldn't be called all content, it should be called the site documentation. Is that a good name? And REST API reference website on the in the. So we got that, and then we got what called all content or content, which is a vec content. Each page, each API endpoint or endpoint definition, endpoint implementation, no, endpoint or def. It's not like that. I got endpoint something or definition collection. Reference documentation. And then we'll just put EG, and we'll just give it 2 examples, which will be account endpoint. Whoops. EG, and then we'll give it a definition one. Instrument. Now this whole thing is going to become what's it complaining? Because errors doesn't exist yet. Fair enough. We'll just make errors. Inc and replace. And then errors is just a. It doesn't even need to be errors. It can just be a vec of error. And then, is it going to like that, or is the error already exist? No, it doesn't. Great. Pub code, which will be a 16, and per documentation, which will be notes documentation, which will be a big string. Maybe this could be a hash map of code to documentation. Nope. We're just going to do it as it is, because it's going to be, okay, this is scraped from this. Why is it complaining? Oh, because there's a comma there. There's no comma there. Now why is it complaining? Documentation is there. It's already used. We'll call this everything. Nice. Is it nice? I don't know. Hopefully yes. Single error from, I'm going to get that web page. Copy. And then we're in this code where we return. Go back. Instead of returning a vec of content, we're going to return everything. And then all the code's going to fail. Import everything. And then down the bottom it's going to be like, that's not everything. Scrape the errors. I guess we just go scrape error page. And what are we going to pass it when we scrape other stuff? What are we passing the instrument URL? We're going to pass it, they don't pass it anything because it literally knows what to do. And then it's going to have errors probably. And then we're going to go let errors equals that. And then we're going to go turn everything. We will rename this to errors. That doesn't exist. We've got to go back to the definition of everything and save it because we've done that rename. And now we've got to generate this function, generate scrape error function. And we'll return a result of vec of error. Now there's a trouble that there's a different errors because that error is going to be like the program error. We'll have to change this to error definition. Import it. So how are we going to do actual scraping? Let's look at one of the other scrapers. I would like to go, for example, get content. This will get one content. So we get the HTML and then, okay, I guess that's the first step. Get the HTML and the URL is going to be literally just going to hard code it. Copy. Okay, we're getting there. Come on, relax. Compiler. We're not async function. Okay, have to be async. And then this becomes, I'm going to have a dot await. Okay, we've got the HTML. All content. We can just rename that to content. Is that going to have a an issue? Probably not. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, we're here, we're doing well. Okay, so let's have a look what they do next. We get the document into a... Then how are we going to handle the document? We need to get, so there's like an endpoint link, so let's see what they do there. They create a selector. So I need to create a selector. That's a CSS selector for each section. Oh, I remember I had to splitting it by headers was really hard. But we did it somewhere in here. Split white space text split n response HTTP header. I'm just splitting the text, but we somewhere, because we're using the HTML, which is what crate is that? Scraper crate. Let's have a look at the docs. Scraper crate. I think we're literally just going to get the whole thing and then split it up manually. I've got to find where I did it before and okay, response. Maybe not. This isn't. It's got to be in header selected. So it might be here, for example. This gives us all the headers, and then we get the body. And then what do we do with the headers here? Oh, we tied them together. I remember we enumerate the headers. I've got it to do there. We need to. Oh, I still haven't done streams. Okay, we'll get there. It's going to be a lot of. It's a long road. We'll get there. Too many to do's. If we can't find a straight screamer, it must be a stream. Anyway, I remember now. We create a header selector. And we get a list of headers, and then we create everything that's not a header selector, and then we pass them both. So let's look at this code and try to find a selector for H4. Inspect. Copy CSS selector. Let's see what's it given us. It's given us a crappy ass selector. So I think I just need to go .h4, but then I don't want to get, it's in a single column. So a single column will be the parent. Can we just go, how do you test out the selectors? It's hash single column. Oh, it's doing it for us, look at that. And just do H4 like that. It gives us table of contents. I want to see all of them. How do we go next? We could ignore table of contents. That's unauthorized. Next. Grab a color. Nope. Forbidden. Okay, so that's our selector for it anyway. I'll do that. That'll get us the headers. We're going to go straight with the document. So we'll ignore the first one. Skip one. The first one is, how do I go back up to the top? Table of contents. Now we're going to pass. Okay, so how do we pass a header? We just want to get the string out of it. What are they doing here? We've got element ref dot text dot next. That's all we need. Dot map. Dot text dot next. We just get the first one. I guess that's just a flat map because we're gonna skip some. So headers is now not a response header, it's a vec of string. Mythical chain minor. What's wrong with this? Failed to use resolve. Okay, we'll import scraper selector, that's easy. Because next is going to return. Okay, we just call it add string. Astra. An option with Astra, and it's going to say no. You can't. Okay, a value. We can't return vec this error. Yeah, because we just got vec that. If we get rid of the result, yeah, it's even better. Look at that. I managed to delete that. But now you can attach printable lazy. We can just that comes from somewhere. That'll be, maybe it shouldn't be here. Use error. Enter report. I used it. Oh, it's already there. Look. Because attach printable lazy is literally, it's for errors, and I don't have an error, so I don't need it anymore. And done, and done. So now we've got all the headers, and now we've got to get everything that's not a header and somehow split it out. I want to get a selector that will get either a P4. It's going to be either a P or a pre. Is that a good? That P is straight underneath, or underline. No, underline. What am I talking about? Unordered list. Lol. A P or a pre, and we just want to collect them all up. I guess this is enough for tonight. We're gonna have to figure out. I'll just write in here what we need to do so the code blows up. Find where else in our code we collected headers, then somehow found all the inner bits, all the inner text in between the headers. Cool. I've got a place to start for tomorrow. Thank you for watching. I will now stop the stream. Have a good night or day.